The voicemail didn't sound like a goodbye, it sounded like a performance. Her voice was soft, too soft, calm, in a way that didn't match the chaos quietly breathing behind it. There was a pause, like she was waiting for someone to tell her what to say next. And then, a sentence that made no sense, not unless you already knew the ending. Because by the time anyone heard that message, Tatiana Remley had already disappeared, and nothing about her story would stay simple after that. Tatiana Remley wasn't the kind of woman who faded into the background. She was bold, glamorous, and unpredictable in a way that made people both admire and fear her. She moved through life like she was always one step ahead of everyone else, throwing extravagant parties, living in luxury, and surrounding herself with powerful men who seemed just as drawn to her as they were wary of her. But beneath the polished surface, there were cracks. People close to her described emotional swingsy moments of charm, quickly replaced by cold detachment. Her marriage to Mark Remley, a wealthy businessman, looked perfect from the outside. Inside, it was something else entirely. Arguments that started small would spiral into something darker, something that neither of them could fully control, and eventually, those cracks turned into something far more dangerous. When Tatiana filed for divorce, it wasn't quiet. It wasn't mutual. It was explosive. Friends say the separation wasn't just about money or betrayal, it was about control. Both of them wanted it, and neither was willing to let go. Court filings revealed accusations, threats, and claims that painted a picture of a marriage filled with tension, just waiting to snap. But what made people uneasy wasn't just the legal battle. It was the way Tatiana talked about it. She didn't sound like someone trying to escape. She sounded like someone preparing for something final. And then, she made a decision that changed everything. Tatiana reached out to someone she barely knew. Not a friend, not a lawyer, not anyone who could help her legally. She contacted a man she believed could solve her problem permanently. The conversation was strange from the start. She spoke in careful, measured words, as if she was rehearsing a script in her head. She didn't say everything directly, but she didn't need to. The implication was clear enough. She wanted her husband gone. What she didn't know was that this man wasn't who she thought he was. The man she contacted wasn't a hitman. He was working with authorities, and from the moment Tatiana made her request, everything shifted. Every message, every meeting, every word she spoke, it was all being watched, recorded, preserved. But Tatiana didn't act like someone afraid of being caught. If anything, she seemed calm, almost confident, like she believed she could outplay whatever game she had stepped into. And that confidence made investigators even more uneasy, because people who feel untouchable often do the unthinkable. They arranged a meeting. It wasn't dramatic. No dark alley. No dramatic confrontation. Just a quiet, controlled setup where Tatiana believed she was finalizing something irreversible. She spoke in specifics now. Details that left no room for misunderstanding. Payment, timing, expectations. It wasn't vague anymore. It was deliberate. And yet, there were moments, small, almost invisible pauses, where her voice would falter, like a part of her knew this wasn't just a plan. It was a line she couldn't come back from. But the deeper investigators looked, the stranger things became. Tatiana wasn't just acting out of anger. There were financial pressures, legal battles, and whispers of secrets that hadn't fully surfaced yet. Her life wasn't just falling apart, it was collapsing in layers. And some began to wonder, was this really about revenge? Or was it about survival? Because sometimes, when everything is on the line, people don't act out of hatred, that act out of desperation. The evidence kept building. Recordings, messages, meetings, everything pointed in one direction. But there was something off, something that didn't quite fit the narrative of a straightforward crime. Tatiana didn't seem reckless. She didn't seem impulsive. She seemed calculated. And that raised a disturbing question. If she was this careful, then what else had she already planned? Then came the moment that changed everything. Investigators uncovered something, unexpected something, that didn't match the story they thought they were building. There were inconsistencies, small ones at first, but when they started connecting them, the picture shifted, because it wasn't just about what Tatiana was planning, it was about what she believed was already happening. And suddenly the entire case felt unstable. The twist wasn't just shocking, it was unsettling. Tatiana had been living in a reality shaped by fear, paranoia, and control. She believed she was the one being targeted, that her husband wasn't just fighting her legally, but possibly threatening her in ways no one else could see. Whether those fears were real or imagined didn't matter in that moment, because to her, they were real enough to justify everything she did, and that blurred the line between victim and perpetrator in a way that made the truth harder to define. In the end, the truth came out slowly, piece by piece. Tatiana Remley wasn't disappearing. She was being stopped. The meetings, the recordings, the planet was all part of a sting operation. She had, in fact, tried to hire someone to kill her husband. The calm voice, the careful words, the eerie confidence. It wasn't an act, it was real. And that voicemail, the one that sounded like a performance, it wasn't a goodbye. It was the moment everything she believed she controlled slipped out of her hands. Some stories don't end with answers. They end with silence, and a lingering question of how far someone can go before they lose themselves completely, because in the end, the most unsettling part of this story isn't what Tatiana did, it's how normal she sounded while planning something so irreversible. And if you listen closely, that voicemail still doesn't sound like a goodbye. It sounds like someone who thought they'd never get caught.